pawing at the window made a pretty good beat.
It did.
I
Yeah.
was like, hey, yeah.
That cat was very motivated. Dr. Tomfoolery,
Yay.
So, Tom,
the non-avatar version of Dr. Tomfoolery.
By the way, Dr. Kennard, I have to thank you for your report on crazy BC lady. I had no idea she existed, and I'm Canadian. You
Yeah.
think I would know, but no, I was ignorant.
Well, the wrong time to figure out that she exists is when one of her followers is shooting someone down. Like,
I
5
agree.
feet away from you, man. It's like, oh,
By,
that person.
by the way, in Canada, counseling someone to commit a crime is a crime.
Yeah,
So,
dude. Here's the thing. I know that Canada, folks in Canada don't have the same kind of um, safeguards against free speech that we have here in the States. For better or for worse, many times worse. The First Amendment gives Americans a lot of freedom that you just don't see in other countries. And so, yeah, in Canada, it's like I am surprised that she is not under arrest.
well, there's, I think in our Constitution it says something, the use of the word reasonable is peppered throughout. So it's sort of like criminal negligence laws,
Mhm.
where in the US and Canada, it's just find of would a reasonable person have gone 180 miles an hour down this curving road?
Right.
The answer is no. And so you don't get to say it was an accident. It was criminal negligence. That
Right.
sort of
Sure.
And I apologize to Tobin for making the same joke again about the Omicron variation being named the Tobin variant. I did that again, and I couldn't resist it. I don't know why. Yeah, I did that in chat. I just said, oh, wow, it turns out it really was named the Tobin variant. I think I'm going to stop that line of humor because I think it's run its course.
I think that's a wise choice.
Yes.
it's going over my head.
I guess you just didn't see it. It was in there, but I shouldn't have done.
No, I try to pay attention to chat. That the people who participate in chat are some very witty people, but yeah, I missed it.
Hey, don't believe anything that Big Zebra says. I caught him on a Eric Von Daniken video.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, in the case of Eric Von Daniken, I really did hear from a friend that Elvis died on the toilet with a Twinkie in one hand and a copy of Eric Von Daniken's Chariot of the Gods in the other. Now I don't think it's true, but I think it makes for a great story.
Be sure. And if it's a good story, it's just as good as
That's cool. By the way, speaking of good stories, I liked your Laughing in Disbelief blog about what's his name, Ken Ham, creating a hell addition to his Ark of Discovery.
Ken Ham down in Kentucky. It's Kentucky, right? Yeah, in Kentucky. He already has the Ark encounter. And for those of you not in the know, he's also, and I'm not making this up, he's building a Tower of Babel.
What?
Yeah. He's building a Tower of Babel.
Isn't he just duplicating sin that happened in the past?
Well, and the ration, and right, this is true, you can look this up, is that the reason why, or the same reason why he says he's building the Tower of Babel is to heal the racial divide in the United States of America. I don't know how you square that circle. I don't know how that works. But that's
what you do is you invite all the poor minorities to actually build it, so they can feel they're a part of something.
Right. Why? Yeah, exactly. The Tower of Babel is obviously just another way for him to try to get people into his crazy world. What a waste of money, indeed. Mm-hmm. So the joke that I did on the blog this morning is that he's building a special exhibit of hell to go along with the Ark and the Tower of Babel. And of course, this is all right by the Creation Museum too. So it's a whole corner of crazy there in Kentucky.
Way to go, Kentucky. The grift is real.
The grift is real, brother. The grift is always, there's always some kind of grift going on.
And he doesn't actually have to profit too much or even at all by these exhibitions, because he uses the exhibitions to get donations. And a lot of people just send him money because he's doing the Lord's work.
Right. Well, he's fighting against critical race theory with dinosaurs and people riding on dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah, I think a T-Rex can put a stop to an intellectual process.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's once again microevolution right there.
Yeah.
So Jesse, I was. Do you have a loss of sense of smell or taste? I was. And once again, I'm really sad that you do have COVID, and your family and your kids have COVID. I mean, it's crap. I know some people lose the sense of smell and taste.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of hell, what if you go to Ken Ham's Hell Park, and it turns out hell is being trapped on a religious nutbag's personal property, where you have to walk through the ark perpetually and see stupid shit dioramas?
And you have to listen to all the commenters, oohing and ahhing at the brilliancy of Ken Ham, because then you just get the biblical hell and the Jean-Paul Sartre hell of other people. You get to mix those two hells together into some kind of milkshake, and that would be that would be like real hell.
I like it.
Jesse says, I can still smell and taste, as can my husband. One of the kids has diminished taste, but not all gone. All right. I was listening to Science Friday, the last episode of Science Friday that's on NPR. I think it's at 3 p.m. on Eastern. I was listening to it on podcast, and they think, or a theory about why people lose their sense of smell and taste is that there's an inflammation, has to do with inflammation of the nerve. But they're just guessing. Once again, the thing that about science occurring in real time is that there's a lot of I don't knows, or a lot of science doesn't know, and that they're just trying to figure it out.
Alcoholism can take away your sense of smell.
Alcoholism can?
Yeah, because they drink so much and they don't eat enough. And then the lack of nutrients can really just kill your sense of smell.
No,
and then
I've never heard that.
Screwed. Oh, yeah. And you're really screwed, because then if you can't smell anything, you tend to not want to eat. And then you'll go 2 or 3 days and suddenly be starving.
Well, I'll tell you how crazy I am. I was listening to this episode of Science Friday, and they were saying not only if you lose your sense of smell, but even if it decreases, if your sense of smell and taste decreases a bit or changes, that can also be a sign of COVID. So whenever I'm eating something now, I'm wondering, does this taste funny? Does this taste funny? Is it me, or is it just my anxiety?
This has been one of the reasons I can't quit smoking, is because everybody says, "Oh, you get your sense of smell back." I smell, and it fucking stinks.
Okay, you are a treasure, Mr. Hudson. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah. Dehydration is real. It's difficult to keep up, Jesse. So you had to go into the ER over the weekend for fluids, huh?
Jesus.
Yeah, that's hard.
It is so annoying when you get all inflamed up there and your nostrils just like close up and shit. Oh, yeah. That is annoying. And you try to lay down and like get rest, and like your nose starts making silly noises.
Well, at least the vaccines are diluting some of the symptoms,
Yes. This is true.
Yeah. Speaking of silly noises, I hate it when my nose does the Macarena. It's really distracting.
Dude, if you do that, then maybe a psych inpatient visit is...
Yeah. I'd go for that.
Yeah. So I was having this conversation with my girlfriend about Omicron, and it's like, I'm not saying I'm quitting my job. I'm not saying that, but I am rethinking about, there are certain things that would have to happen for me to take more time off. And I'm not gonna. And my goal is not to freak out or to and not to, you know, be over anxious about this. But yeah, if things get bad again, I'll just take more time off from work. I'm lucky enough to do it, to be able to do it. It doesn't look like that's going to happen now, but it's definitely in the
Oh,
back.
I thought we didn't have anything to worry about. Matt Gaetz was going to go kick its ass, right?
Right. Matt Gaetz, the representative, Omicron. That's right, Tobin.
You know, it's really amazing that he would devote his time to fighting COVID-19 and taking his eye off those little girls to occupy his attention normally.
Right. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, is another post I wrote over the weekend about Matt Gaetz from Florida, of course, wanting to fight Representative Omicron.
Was he?
On the
Was
Florida.
he? Was you the one that put out that he's been banned from all Sweet 16 parties too?
Yeah, I wrote that. Yeah. You'll notice that there's a list of people I go back and forth on about making fun of. One of them is of course Matt Gaetz
And Bobert, Green.
Yeah, Green, Joe Rogan. Yeah.
I used to like Joe Rogan, and it just hurts me to see him fucking be so goddamn stupid.
Two things. One, congratulations, Steve Parks, on getting a booster. And you're right. It really does hurt me, to tell you the truth, John Hudson. You know, I always appreciated his comedy. I first encountered Dan Carlin, who runs the Hardcore History podcast, from, you know, Joe Rogan's podcast, and I'm a big fan of Dan Carlin and his podcast Hardcore History. I heard a lot of good conversations on Rogan's podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Sam Harris, but I tell you, I think you know, it sounds trite, but COVID has just amplified the stupid.
Well, him moving to Texas
That doesn't help.
is about when it all fucking got crazy, you know?
Yeah. It's a positive feedback loop of nuts. And I'm not saying that Rogan won't snap out of it at some point, right?
You know.
But I think he's doing a lot of harm in the meantime before he figures out that, oh gosh, I'm wrong. You know, and that's why it's so important to think about what the scholarly consensus is on COVID, for an example. Like what?
Well, I promoted Rogan, you know, when he had guests like Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, and Neil deGrasse, and it just I feel kind of shame for her. I turn people on to it now, you know.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't understand Joe Rogan, because it used to be I would turn on his show and he'd be talking to the stupid, dumbest piece of shit who had accomplished nothing in his life, and he could make it interesting and talk to the guy for 2 hours and still keep it interesting. And then you find out he thinks horse dewormer at a human dose is okay, and that he used to think Bigfoot was real.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't mind if people at one time have thought crazy ideas, right? When I was a kid, I used to believe in the Loch Ness monster, right? Really.
But you were a kid.
When I was a kid, right? And so it's also, I think, so that's one thing. I think there's another category of believing in something kind of wacky as an adult. But then I think, once again, and this is where the adulting comes in, if you got a large platform, if you have a platform of any kind, and if you're not doing your due diligence about who you platform and about what messages you're sending out there, that's bad. And in a crisis situation like a pandemic, that's tragic. That's what it is. And that's what Rogan's doing. He's just smearing as much misinformation about the virus, about ivermectin, as he can. And
that is something you really don't want to be wrong about. I mean, because you're influencing other people's decision on something that is, I mean, very important. Holy shit.
Well, taking in the wrong quality, that shit will kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
If you and once again, especially in this country, well, it's worldwide actually. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. Even though we have vaccination issues here in the States, you look at other countries, and they're having their own vaccination issues, right? Trying to convince people to vaccinate. Austria is trying to mandate vaccination. There are anti-lockdown protests in Germany. But it's clear. It's clear that vaccines work. They definitely work better than ivermectin. and once again, it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, right? I don't know if you guys have seen, or in the chat, if you've seen this, is that there are quite a few hospitals that are just cutting down, they're just stopping elective procedures now, just like during the dark days. Earlier on in the pandemic, they're just saying, we just don't have the beds, we just don't have the capacity to do these elective surgeries.
And those are like things like when people get hernias and
yeah, indeed. So
it is messed up. I actually knew a person who had to live with one for a pretty long time. I mean, it was years.
Yeah. You can live with a hernia for quite a while, depending on where it is and how bad it is. I wonder if Canada will be the next country with travel restrictions.
Oh, probably.
I know that Israel was one of the first countries I've just done, I believe, blanket travel restrictions. Once again, tomfoolery. I see your hand up.
I was actually going to have a elective surgery that I was scheduling. I was talking with the surgeon late 2019, and they're like, yeah, we could schedule it for early 2020, but you might want to wait a little while before you have it to later in 2020. I was like, yeah, I probably should have just had it in early 2020 because I still haven't done that surgery yet, when really probably should.
Yeah.
I hope you're okay waiting there, Dr. Tom.
It's more of a discomfort issue than like imminent death or anything like that. But yeah, that speaks to me, that conversation there.
Oh yeah. I jumped on the scale this morning and found out that Thanksgiving just put 5 pounds on me. I'm going to take ownership for this. I put 5 pounds on me due to even with like vegetarian Thanksgiving, it turns out that
there's still pie.
There's still fucking pie, and a lot of pie. And I'll tell you what I did too. I made those pecan burritos I talked about, and I deep fried them, and they're incredible. So I was basically freebasing pecan burritos, deep fried pecan burritos, and they are as delicious as I thought they would be. They are incredible. Like in a way that I cannot even tell you how incredible they are. They're just fucking incredible, dudes. Yeah. So that's how those 5 pounds landed on me.
Well, one of the things I've added into my daily diet is Brazil nuts.
Those are pretty good.
That's what they say. High in magnesium, give you extra energy, which I find I'm getting. I've felt tired since I've had the COVID.
Oh, really? That's common, though. I've heard a lot of people say that.
I felt tired for about 1.5 years now. Yeah, but I've been. The kids got me a couple bags of them, and I eat probably 8-10 of them during the day, around 11 o'clock, and I haven't needed my nap.
That's good. That's a good sign. Yeah.
Hey, isn't it the Brazil nut where the nut is, of course, edible? The shell of it is poisonous.
The cashew is like that. I'm pretty confident.
Oh, maybe I've got it wrong. It's the cashew.
Yeah, it looks ugly too. It doesn't look like a plant that you would go, let me snack on that. Like, it looks strange, but yeah, man, those are good though. Oh my goodness.
So cashew nut shells are poisonous?
I'll look it
I
up
think
on the
the
Google
cashew
machine.
itself,
Well,
it
I'm looking
has
at
to
it right.
be.
Okay,
Oh,
so I'm looking at it right now. Cashew themselves aren't toxic, of course, but they are surrounded by a shell that consists of toxic oil. There's a toxic oil. Um, urushiol. Sounds like an old Jewish word, Hebrew word. You know, Urushiol. Causing just into contact with them can cause itching, blisters, and skin irritation. Wow.
Wow.
Things you find out.
Who's the silly bastard who figured out you could eat them?
That's a good question. That's a good
Mm.
question. Someone who's
Yeah.
desperate.
Well, I picked the last of my watermelons this weekend.
Oh, really?
Done for the season.
So Theo says, I'm in the tiny minority these days who thinks you shouldn't force anybody to medical procedures, no matter or what. Oh, that sounds like an excellent trolley experiment conversation, Theo. So you're saying that if you get like 10 people on the trolley, right? You get 2 tracks, and you're in control of the lever of which way the trolley goes. So you get one. So if this is a bad, and I'm trying to meander my way through this as I'm talking about it, but you would say that if you could save 10 people, what's up, Oz? If you could save 10 people, if one person was forced at bayonet point to get the vaccine, you would say no, that person shouldn't be forced to get the vaccine. See,
What if
I would have trouble with that
Yeah.
equation.
I
What
wanted
if
to
instead of
clarify
forcing
what
them,
it meant.
what if instead of forcing them, we forced them to wear clown makeup, so people could realize they were a clown?
You know,
And
let me tell you, Big Zebra, the Baptist in me, the Baptist atheist in me, all about shame. All about shame. But you know, I mean, as a skeptic, and a humanist, you know, I'd rather do, you know, pragmatic.
But what about the people that are really clowns? How is that fair to them?
You just gotta listen to them for like a minute or two, and that'll become clearly evident that they are.
well, maybe only the real clowns could wear those big shoes. You know.
So here's the next question, and I'm sorry, this is just how I get, right? So let's say instead of 10 people that would be saved, you get, as in any trolley problem, it's not clear whether you should act and cause a risk to others. Well, if it's either or, if you're forced to make a choice, right? Then let's stay within, as any thought experiment, you have to stay within the confines of the thought experiment. Let's say you have 100 people who would stay alive if that one person got the jab. Then would you force that person to get the jab if you knew that you would save 100 people?
We have a case like that. Typhoid Mary. She was imprisoned because she was always contagious, and she wouldn't take normal precautions. She wanted to work as a cook, so she contaminated all her food. And when they said, hey, you can't do this anymore, she went ahead and did it anyway. So all these people died. And so they locked her up on an island off New York City.
She was asymptomatic too, to where she didn't show the signs of the typhoid, but she was a carrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, Jesse Bear says, I feel choice is always allowed in social requirements. Do what's best for the many. As in taking the vaccine or lose social privileges is my personal preference. You know, there is when I was working with people who have disabilities, there is a principle, and I've talked about it before, about using the least restrictive method possible, right? So if to ensure someone's safety and well-being, you use the least restrictive strategy as possible, allowing for choice and liberty. However, there are extreme circumstances where the least restrictive strategy is actually pretty fucking restrictive. That's all I'm saying. That there are some situations like, let's say Jimmy decides to run out into the road or decides to run out into the road in traffic, then I will physically restrain Jimmy if that is absolutely necessary, right? So yeah, just throwing that out there. Least restrictive, but once again, sometimes that restriction is necessary. Like and you can make that. I mean, and this is one of the things how I think about, like, let's say healthcare, universal healthcare. Even though it would be nice to have as much liberty and freedom as possible in terms of, like, economically, it is clear that the free market does not do well with healthcare, right? And that there needs to be restrictions. There needs to be some kind of control.
I thought Theo kind of meant something else. I don't know. I took it differently.
Okay.
What he read was that, we shouldn't force people to do like elective surgeries. But
Okay.
like the way I see it though is like, why not? Why make people wait on it? Like, especially if they don't want to, because that's what I hear more often is the people who have like elective surgeries and they can't afford to go and do that and they live in discomfort.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I see that more. I don't know. I don't know if I took it wrong or not. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. D Park says, had a personal win this weekend. Got my super Trumpy white supremacist mom to admit the killing of Aubrey was wrong. Job well done, D Parks. Job well done.
But I definitely get what you're saying though too. Like the restrictions are there to help us take care of the whole,
Yeah.
Like, and some people are very skeptical that, unfortunately, that people have something malicious that we're trying to. What was he saying? Not my original point, but I agree, Tobin. Oh, okay. See, yeah.
Hey, I'm going to cut out. Just got invited to breakfast. You guys have a
Later,
wonderful
John.
day.
Damn you and your breakfasts.
Same to you, Mr. Hudson.
Bye.
It's been real.
Shamala hamala.
Shamala hamala.
Hey, can someone explain to me what Shamala Hamala means? I'm not familiar with that one.
So there was a gentleman on TikTok. I forget his name. He's an ex-theist, ex-Christian, and in his he's gay. In his super fundamentalist church that he grew up in, they would talk in tongues. And one of the times that he was talking in tongues, he was going Shamla Hamla, Shamla Hamla, and he was making jokes about it. And so I don't know. We showed that video one day, and it was Sammy actually, 420 Atheist, who came up with that should be the call sign.
I think that's great. I love it.
The voice of angels, the language of angels, right there, Shamla Hamla.
Sure. I know that there's something called angelic script where angels were said to use a certain type of language, but I don't know what it looks like.
Shamla Hamla, John. Shamla Hamla. I saw the movie Arrival. Speaking about languages, we saw the movie Arrival. That was in 2016, 2018 with Amy Adams the other night. We rented it. Well, it wasn't rented. It was free on the streaming service we're on. And at first I thought it was just a shitty mashup of the movie Contact. And, I just thought it was just like a shitty version of Contact. And then Dave Smith, if we know who you are, if someone can vouch for you, that's great. If you show your face, that will get you, that's a greater chance of you actually getting on screen. But we've had people spam us, porn spam us. And so this is a protection, Dave Smith. I don't know if we know each other. You can make comments in the private chat, and maybe one of us can vouch for you. Someone in the chat can vouch for you. But so, yeah. So at first I thought that Arrival was just going to be a shitty version of Contact, because there are many similarities. But then there was stuff going on in the third act, which I thought, oh, it's really, and I don't want to ruin this for anyone, but it's more like, yeah, see, now he left. This is what happens when people who just want to like shoot their mouths off or just porn spam us. They're like, oh, what do you mean? I just can't wave my dick around. That you have some kind of rules and regulations. You know,
did you mean simply secular Dave or a different kind of Dave?
Oh, no. No, I think that was a different Dave, right?
Okay, never mind.
That was a different Dave, yeah.
If I can give some advice as a sort of newcomer to this lovely chorus, I hung around in the chat for a long, long time before I dared to venture in.
Oh yeah,
which is a good idea, really. Get to know people. You know,
I think it's wise. You know, but once again, you know, different channels have different rules, right? Some people just let you on, just if you show up. Then and I tried that, and I did that twice, and like I said, the porn spamming was not pleasant. Different Dave, that's right, simply secular Dave. That was a different Dave. but if I was going to give a movie review for Arrival in one sentence, it would be if it was a pitch meeting, right, before the movie got made, it would be Contact plus Slaughterhouse-Five. That would be.
Was that a Denis Villeneuve movie? I'm going to look that up.
Slaughterhouse. Oh, what, the Arrival?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I will find out and say something. Yeah, it's Denis Villeneuve.
Okay. King Farouk points out waving the dick around in public got Anthony Weiner into trouble. That's right. Now that you mention it, yep. Simply sexual, Dave. That's an image I don't need, but thank you, Theo. Right there in my head now. Yeah. It's.
See you later, Black Female Atheist. Good to see you here.
I was. Yeah.
I'm definitely like that too, Zebra. I have, stayed on the outskirts for a while. I like to check out, see what's going on.
It's important for me to determine if the place I'm going will actually tolerate someone like me. It's you want to get, yeah.
Courtney, do we know that's really Courtney Hurd? Because I know Courtney Hurd, but is it really Courtney Hurd? I'm gonna try it. This is gonna be. I'm gonna take the shot. Courtney.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah. I had a feeling something was wrong.
Yeah.
I've had somebody who recently just started messing with me. Yeah. But man, they put the same comment in like I don't know. It's strange behavior. It's just like if you want to have a discussion about God or whatever, just say it. Just fucking write it.
Well, they can't win.
Out there.
The thing is that side can't win on arguments, right? So that's why they use these propaganda techniques. It
is silly. It's silly. Like it don't even. It's what.
Yeah.
There was something off about Courtney there. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Maybe it was the symbol of National Socialist Workers in Germany. Maybe that could be it.
Yeah.
Cryptomeria says if the new variant's in Ontario, I'm sure it already is.
It is. It is. It made the news, Cryptomeria.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy. I've accused Cryptomeria of stalking me because I was in a TYT comment section and she commented on my comment. And so I now accuse her of stalking me.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. There has to be. I generally ask people to. There's a vetting process. But I was lured in with this most recent attempt.
Yeah, I got grandfathered in. I just rushed in a while back.
Oh, see? Yeah.
You've been very quiet today, Dr. Tom.
as against to his normal loquacious self. Every guest has to solve a humanist riddle. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Scapegoat. I was about to mention that. I've noticed Pine Creek verifies the camera's image before presenting it. Interesting.
How do you verify a camera's image? You have to go live?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say the StreamYard, which I use, did come up with a few new perks, additional features that I'm probably going to be playing around with over the next couple of weeks. Depending on how much time and energy I have, I'm going to be playing around with stuff. Maybe the format, maybe not the format, maybe add-on shows. I don't know. Maybe short bits. Not sure yet.
Oh, Japan. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. I just spotted something on the news, and then I interrupted you. I shouldn't have done it. But Japan just blocked entries into the country.
Yeah.
Foreigners, specifically.
Right. Here we go. Simply Secular Dave says he does it in the backstage using a cover on his video template. Using a cover on his video template before the person to go live. Dave, let's talk about this on Twitter, because I'm sure that you'll be able to explain it to me simply. Simply because I'm me, right? So that I can understand what you're saying about video templates off stage.
One of the crazy stories. Oh,
no, go ahead, man.
One of the crazy stories I heard over this weekend was the one about Jamaica. Did y'all hear about the human sacrifices that were going on?
No.
In Jamaica? No.
Yeah, there was a group of 144 people who were and their priest or whatever, the person they looked up to, they had killed 2 people and one person was seriously injured. The story is crazy. It is nuts.
I'm looking at it right now. It's from Insider, and this is from October. So there's probably more the story is still probably being played out. A pastor held in connection to suspected human sacrifices was killed in a police car crash on his way to be charged. Black female atheist says yes. Cult leader Kevin Smith. Wow. Human sacrifices. Yeah. They're when I was reading through Dr. Josh's book, An Atheist Guide to the Old Testament, Part 1, there was a section about human sacrifices and the varieties of human sacrifices in the Old Testament. He was
against it, right?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Josh was against it, but no surprise that Yahweh, maybe not so much.
Yahweh likes barbecue.
He likes the smell of fat, apparently burning. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Kevin Smith, the leader of Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, that's a mouthful, died while being transported to face charges connected to suspected ritual killings. Wow.
It's just nuts. I mean, their own people were like, hey, we're going to be all right with this. There was a bunch of people standing around who were just went along with it,
Yeah.
I get it. There's going to be some bad eggs that, snap and, they might do some really strange stuff, but it blows my mind even more whenever it's on a mass scale. There's a group of people who were okay, yeah, I mean, I guess we got to, kill one of us.
Yeah.
Well, when there's a human sacrifice at your church service, it's time to switch churches.
From the Daily Beast, cultists claim pastor demanded sacrificial beheading of woman. That's from 3 weeks ago. Yeah, Kevin Smith's church. I remember, and probably some of you who went through Psych 101 on, the class, intro to psychology, they usually give you a little bit about Freud, and Freud talked about the death instinct, right? The death instinct that people have and you read it. At least I remember reading it when I was an undergraduate and going, no, that's just bullshit, man. That's just bullshit. Like thanatology, I think that was the term, thanatology, and then it's like, as we go through COVID and looking at Christianity and Islam and other death cults, it becomes a stronger and stronger case that there is some kind of instinctual urge for death. I don't know what it is. It sounds crazy. I know, as Dawkins said in The Selfish Gene, there are like these genes that don't click on until after you've actually our age of procreation. Right. So there are these genes that just turn on that after you're of age to procreate, you're really not as useful. And so, you're more tendency to get these diseases, right? And he called them quote unquote suicide genes. But it makes you wonder about things. It makes you wonder whether or not there's some kind of switch that just turns people crazy, right? The death instinct. I'm here to spam. Oz, listen to you. Crazy, right? You're gonna talk about the death instinct. I'm here to spam. Oz, listen to you. Crazy, right? You're gonna talk about and now the
All right, should be good now. My bad. It's my first time. It's my first time ever
I
doing
still
this.
hear myself. And I'm really irritated.
I know why. Hold on. I'm a newbie. Hold on.
Do you know why I'm irritated? It's probably because of my voice. I sound like a New England liberal. That's what I sound like. True to form. I don't have the nice, rich, melodic voice of you here. I'm here at 2 Spam.
We can tell you're a liberal because you have books.
I got
you probably read them.
I got a high nasally voice.
Books.
How you doing, Mr. Oz?
I'm fantastic, but I'm trying to get better. How's everybody?
Good.
I'm doing well.
I'm alive.
I'm on my 53rd year of damage control, and so I think I'm doing okay. The damage I've inflicted on others and myself seems to be, I wouldn't say minimal, but it's manageable. So yeah.
You know what? That's really all we can do. That's all we can ask for is manageable.
Goals, man. You gotta have goals. Good morning, Kevin Chaos.
And my mentor always said, don't set it so high that you can never reach it, and don't set it so low that you don't challenge yourself. To me, that just says keep it manageable.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think, and if I was going to put it and go on my, if I was going to preach for a minute, I think harm reduction is a worthy goal for all of us, at the very least, right? The least amount of damage we do to ourselves and the people around us.
Sure, drug policy is greatly improved by harm reduction.
But you know what? You're not going to sell best-selling books that way. Or get like mad subscribers to your YouTube channel by being rational and saying things like, maybe you should just do the least amount of damage while doing the most amount of good as you can.
Yeah.
Doesn't really, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy talk.
Maybe if I pitch my voice down a little bit, maybe that would do it.
Yeah, I tried that. That doesn't do it either. Doesn't work.
Hey, is it Oz there that's taking lessons on how to read Sumerian or something?
Yes.
Or is it Akkadian? How's it coming along? It looks difficult. Like, holy crap.
You know what? And now I can say it here because Dr. Josh isn't here. That doesn't sound like I'm just blowing smoke up his ass. He makes it incredibly not easy, but more manageable. It is the way he does it, and the kind of step by step, instead of just throwing a bunch at you at one time. He's made it more simple, I guess. But it is a difficult. I have to put quite a bit of time studying off screen, sure, to get it. But I love it. I think it's very, I think it's very intriguing. With it being our first known written, language. And then sometimes after the show, I'll tell Josh, like, it really just shows how, when we fast forward to translating the Bible, or other ancient, holy texts to where we have them today, there's no fucking way that they got it like word for word. There's no goddamn way. There's no way.
Well, when you have the Holy Spirit,
oh, I forgot about that. Damn it.
Yeah.
you don't need
The Holy Spirit is like a booster seat for adults. It just helps you get it done.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, that didn't make any sense at all. I love
You
it.
really tried, though, and to be funny, it doesn't even make sense.
It clicked in my brain, so I don't know what that says about me.
Yes,
I thought it was funny.
I like stuff that's humor that doesn't make any goddamn sense but makes you laugh.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I hear the Holy Spirit compared to like a booster seat or a high chair or something childish, I'm going to laugh.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. So is Sumerian? Is it a? Is it? And this is going to be me not understanding language. By the way, this is my little TED talk about me not understanding language. Is it like hieroglyphics in which there are a lot of pictures or representations of pictures? Is it based on letters? Is it a combination of the two? How does that work, Oz? Explain it to me like I'm as much of an idiot as I am.
Yep, I'll put it up to the screen here. So
Yeah, I thought it was cuneiform.
It's cuneiform. Yeah. So if you can see it.
Oh yeah. Gotcha.
And then when it's translated, so you have the there's see me trying to describe it, Dr. Josh and I here doesn't do it justice, but there's like the how we translate it using the English, and then there's another way to translate it as you would see it on, I think it's the literal translation, with it, how you would take the cuneiform and how you would read it off of the tablet. So it's kind of a two-step process. It's been interesting.
Scapegoat says it's odd that the Holy Spirit is either telling Christians a bunch of different stuff or they're not being honest with what he tells them. I think the Holy Spirit just fucking with them. That's all. No, obviously God doesn't exist, but I was trying to explain that to my kids again the other day about the Trinitarian God. It was one of our pleasant conversations around Thanksgiving breakfast, the difference between, because one of my kids, she works with a Jehovah's Witness, and so we were talking about what a monotheist is as against a poly-monotheist is, and then I think Mormons would be considered like poly-monotheists to the nth power. I don't know how that's confusing to anyone, to tell you the truth. I don't see how people,
No, that's manageable.
Yeah, that's manageable.
Yeah, I found lately, and I don't because I've had this conversation in the past, but lately, not all, but a lot of the Christians that I've been talking to are like so quick to get angry and upset when I tell them that I think that the Trinity, a triune God, is just completely a ridiculous notion, and that I don't even know where it comes from because it's not in the book. Like, who came up with this shit,
And they can't all agree on it themselves.
Yeah. And it's like all of a sudden now they want to jump off cliffs. I'm like since I've been an atheist, I've been talking about this because I grew up and lived in that brand of Christianity. So I have a very good understanding of it. And like now, like, why now are you getting upset? Did something happen in the church world that I'm not aware of?
Sure. I have a book on the Council of Nicaea up here, and hey, what's up, Cindy Plaza? And it just, if it was so self-evident, this Trinitarian God, if it was so obvious, the Emperor Constantine wouldn't have had to throw a bunch of guys into a room together and lock the door and say, "Go at it."
By the way, interesting story. Dr. Kennard might have the better details here, but at that council, They wanted a unanimous conclusion on one matter, and they couldn't get it. So two of them were executed on the spot, and then they held another vote, and it was unanimous.
I'm not sure about that story. I know that it just wasn't the Council of Nicaea. I know there was a variety of different councils
Yeah.
to help together Trinitarian.
I thought they were just excommunicated, not executed.
I heard they were like just run through on the spot, but maybe it's apocryphal. Hey guys, I'm sorry, I have to go for a bit. I hope to be back in time for more fun.
For more what?
For more fun.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Bye-bye for now.
Take care.
Later, Big Z.
Well, I imagine Oz, or if I could call you Mr. Spam. This might be the first time they've ever talked to someone who's told them that the Trinitarian God seems to be bunk.
And that's true, because, and I always try to put myself back into my Christian shoes, or put my Christian hat back on, so to speak, and that's fair, because until I started researching, because I had questions, I had nobody ever challenge me on the Trinity. I had nobody ever question that. So maybe I just hit a string of Christians that have never, never had to have or been in a situation to have that conversation, to where they actually had to think about it. So that's probably a fair point. Yeah.
The Christian who found their way onto YouTube for the first time, they just landed at your door.
Yep. Well, and again, I could relate, because I remember when I was on that, I was right on the line where it was like I was so ready to let go of Christianity and faith, but the 30 years and indoctrination wouldn't quite let me let go yet. I had that grip, and the one time in specific that just it was the knockout punch as far as my belief and my faith was on YouTube. I was sitting alone in my apartment downtown here, and I was watching it wasn't live, a previous episode of the Atheist Experience, and Matt had two callers on that particular episode. They weren't back to back. It was like 2 or 3 callers apart. But the first one, of course, slavery, came up, and I remember, I went and grabbed, I hit pause, and I'm slamming stuff. I'm like, this dude's a fucking liar. That shit's not in the book. I'm getting shitty, right? The Christian party was getting shitty. So I grabbed my Bible, grabbed 2 different translations of the Bible, went to the reference that he gave, and I read it. And I remember sitting back on my couch, and I was like, it's fucking in the book. It's in the book. So then I hit play, and like I said, 2 callers, something like that later, for whatever they're talking about, Hosea 11 came up, where God commands the soldiers to dash the children's heads on stones and rip the unborn babies out of the mother's womb. And again, I hit my space bar and paused it. I'm like, this bald motherfucker, remember I'm bald, this bald motherfucker, he's making this shit up. He's trying to lie to Christians. He's making this shit up. So open the Bible to where he said, and that, like, all of the light bulbs came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Nobody's ever taught me this shit.
Yeah.
And here I'm like ministering. I'm in front of people, like, teaching this book, and I've studied it, and I've read these before, but I was so blinded by the indoctrination and the coaching and the teaching that it didn't even connect with my humanity, that this shit's fucked up, man. This shit's fucked up. And then everything started to fall apart there.
Yeah, I remember the first time I realized that the Great Flood was actually genocide.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you would think any reasoning human being would just know that when God kills everyone on the planet except for a handful of people, that's genocide. But when you're brought up learning that story as as something akin to Animal Farm, to some kind of like animal children's story, a cartoon, then you're just blinded to it.
You're told those people are evil. You're told those people are evil, so they deserved it.
Yeah.
Actually, they were the Nephilim. They were contaminated, apparently, by the Nephilim, and so the only people who were not contaminated were on the ark, which I found bizarre. But apparently, it's kind of true that many religious people believe that. I just I
You
remember
just
saying,
want to
"Wait
bring
a
this
second,"
conversation back to angel sex, Big Zebra. I know what you're trying to do there.
Well, yeah, it's just that if they're the sons of God that came down as angels and banged women, wouldn't that make them a bit better instead of contaminated with evil?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great question. Let's ask God. Everybody bow your
That's
head.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, and doesn't it sound like a myth? I mean, how many times in myths have gods come down and slipped the sausage to a comely female?
Yeah.
I mean,
I love talking about myths.
Oh, yeah, it's great stuff. Jesse Bear says, I started a question during CCD as a kid, the whole Moses story with the firstborns. Like, why are they killing kids? Yeah, that's too true with that.
what is CCD there, Jesse?
Oh, that's Catholic. I don't want to speak for them, but it's basically when you're going to get confirmed, you go through CCD classes. I don't even know what the acronym stands for, but I know it's a series of classes in Catholicism when you're going to get confirmed.
Mm. Well, when I was a Catholic, we did almost nothing. Maybe they've upped their game lately.
Well, I think it's been. I remember my friends in high school. This is back in the day, of course. The catechism. Thank you. The girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah. The catechism. Yeah, the girl. My girlfriend was. Her parents attempted to raise her as Catholic. It never stuck. It never stuck.
It didn't take. Oh, I found the actual. I'll put it into chat for the Confraternity of Christian Doctrine.
Oh.
Speaking of Catholics, have you guys seen the new documentary that just came out on Netflix? I think it's called Procession.
Procession?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. No. Tell me about it.
It's brutal. It's tough. It's tough to watch. They have it's either three or four guys now that are in their anywhere from like late 40s to probably late 50s that were several times abused by priests or whatever, and they're just now dealing with the trauma and learning that it's okay to to talk about it and be vocal, and they do this therapeutic process, which I thought was interesting, because I don't know that it would do anything for me, but it certainly helped them. That's all that matters. Where they basically did like a role play or a reenactment of the events leading up to the abuse or the event, and they show that process, and if you even give one shit about humanity, and can watch that and not at least have tears in your eyes watching these grown adults like just absolutely broken over what happened to them. It's a tough watch, but I think it's something for those of us that are trying to help expose that bullshit in whatever church, whatever organization. I think it's a worthy watch. I won't say a good watch. I think that's ridiculous. It's a worthy watch.
Yeah, that is one of the harms that come from holding religious views. Like, once you reach that point to where you start questioning stuff, and some people do have a rough time with getting through with it, and that is one of the harms that I think that is there from religion.
Yeah, the one guy, I want to say his name was Jim on there, and my heart just broke for him, because out of the group, he was like hands down by far the most angry out of the group, and every time he spoke on there, and sometimes it didn't even had nothing to do with the church or the abuse, but it, like, as soon as he started talking, it was like, fuck them, I mean, he was just angry,
Yes.
intense.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Oh yeah.
And to watch him go through or start to, you don't get to see the whole thing. Obviously, that's a long time, but being able to watch him start to open up and begin the healing journey, the healing process. It's those things that it's like that part does make you like, okay, I'm glad there are secular people out here that are helping these people, learn coping mechanisms and that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to go through this. It's okay to talk about it. That part was awesome to see him start that healing journey. That was great to see.
I think knowing those things helps inform us as atheists and skeptics and humanists about how to handle our business in real life and how we talk about the church. And we're not overreacting. It's a worldwide criminal enterprise. That's what it is. The Catholic Church is, and trying to brand it with puppy dogs and rainbows. That's just real.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you're saying, what will infuriate you. I mean, and I'm usually a pretty cool customer, and I don't get very rattled very easily. But there was about a little over halfway through, I paused the movie and went and smoked a cigarette because I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. And the part of it for me, because I can say it publicly because he freely talks about it. My little brother was molested in church, not the Catholic Church, but was molested in the church, and I know what he went through, and it still goes through, and I know what it did to our family when it came out, and there's not one of those priests or whatever the hell they're called. There's not one of them that have legally been held accountable for what they did. And I think two of them, they set up this, it was supposed to be like this random panel that it was supposed to be, people that were going to be partial down the middle. And they walk in when they were still young with mom and dad. Mom and dad are sent out to the hallway or whatever. And the whole panel are all priests. Well, what the fuck? What do you think's gonna fucking happen?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Okay.
The accountability. It's already that time.
It's already that time. In fact, we just ran over. I know that someone wanted to come into the show, but we are actually closing things out right now. The show runs from 9:30 to 10:30. It's over 10:30, everyone. Oz, thanks for showing up. Dr. Tom Foolery, BigZebra.com, Tobin Templeman, everyone in the chat. We're doing the same crazy thing tomorrow, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks for the show.
Shamala
Always fun.